Hey guys, this is Million here, and today I'm bringing you guys something a little bit different. This is a video I really wanted to do, and I wanted to do it as professionally as I could, writing a whole script and whatnot. The words just wouldn't come out when I wrote it on paper. They just didn't feel genuine. They didn't feel what I wanted to do. So what I did, I just put some notes in, and we're gonna do this a bit more personal, a bit more intimate. You're probably gonna see me stumble my words a bit. Some things might be hard to say. I don't know really, but yeah, I just want to make this as personal as I can. Yeah, so let's get started. Thank you again for the support. Get it. So Melty Blood, Actors Again Current Code, has been out in PC for over 10 years. I checked. That is a big accomplishment, and a lot happens in 10 years. In 10 years, I graduated college, began working, moved to another country, learned a new language, made new friends. A lot happens. And this series has been with me for most of those things. In 10 years, I also joined the FGC officially. I've always been interested in fighting games ever since I was little. The first game I played was Mortal Kombat 2. When I was way too young to be playing Mortal Kombat 2, but that's besides the point. But I've always been interested in fighting games. Whether it be Dragon Ball Budokai series, whether it be Mortal Kombat, whether it be Marvel vs. Capcom, I was always in there. Always, of course, as a casual player, and there was nothing such thing as competitions back then or anything like that. You just play it because you found it fun. And yeah, that's basically how I was until late 2010, beginning of 2011. When I joined the FGC through Marvel 3. The thing was, there was no competition where I lived. I lived in Costa Rica until 2013. There was no competitive scene, and didn't know much people who really wanted to be good at the game. So, pretty much became a stream monster. I would just consume all the content that we had, go to training mode, try new things, and that's how it was for the most part. So I gotta say my beginnings in the FGC were really humble, and it didn't feel like a physical community so much as, oh, it's another online community I'm here with. At the same time, while I was in the FGC, and years prior, of course, I knew about Mugen of this open source engine to make pretty much the craziest things you want to do. And it's always fun to see like Rare Akuma fight, I don't know, God, Chuck Norris, Super Saiyan 4 or something like that, I was always the good stuff. But there was these characters from this series that I always kept looking at called Melty Blood. And I've seen Nana Yoshiki, I've seen Akiha, I've seen Arcade, and I always found the sprites to be cool. But my questions were always like, okay, what is this about? Is this like high school kids to like fight after school? Like, does he brings a knife to school or like fights people? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know if this is that cool. It looks kind of lame. Like just my headcanon just sounded so lame, and I never tried it, and it's actually one of the dumbest things that I ever did. But just for the sake of the story, I knew about Melty Blood through Mugen, but I never really committed to the series until I found out about Ryogi Shiki, which is a character I downloaded in late 2011 on my Mugen, and I absolutely loved. What you're seeing here is actually me. I actually recorded some footage from Mugen because I like recording just things, maybe some combos or whatever. I was really bad back then, but I always found them really fun. So yeah, you're just seeing some compilation of some stuff from Mugen, especially for this Ryogi character, which I actually found on Infinite like a day after I downloaded. So I was really into this character. Okay, where is she from? And yeah, I found that she's also from Melty Blood, and I was like, it's time. Let's try it out. Let's see what this is about. This happened on January 1st, 2012. So that would make 10 years since I got into Melty Blood. So yeah, if you notice, there's a coincidence here. The PC version of Actors Again Current Code came out December 31st. And I began the day after. So it really feels like this was fate. Like it was meant to be. Like that was the time. And I gotta say, my life hasn't been the same ever since I downloaded Actors Again Current Code. For early on, didn't have a community, of course. Like I said, I lived in Costa Rica. I wasn't too aware of the gaming communities in my area, and yeah, I found out later on there weren't really any options for FGC. FGC was really small, and of course they mostly play Street Fighter, maybe some Marvel, but not that much from what I heard of. And yeah, so basically I had to resort to training mode, and I did a lot of training mode. I was playing with one of my friends, and what we would do, because the net play was really bad, guys. This is before rollback. This is raw actors again network mode, which if you haven't tried, oh my god. What we should do, what we're doing, where okay, let's learn this character. We're gonna learn this character and make a combo video out of it. I know some people have seen my CPCL combo video. That was the first combo video I've ever made, and yeah, it was pretty janky. It was pretty bad. What you're seeing here is just snippets of it, and snippets of Ryogi combo video I also made very early on. This should have been like 2 months into the game, and we were just having fun making these videos. They're bad. They're cheesy. They have frame drop. They look pathetic. It was fun. I was 15, like I was just having fun with the game. And that's how we started. That's how we started with this series. In April or May, I don't recall, I was thinking, okay, let's see if I can try to net play with more people. And through Facebook, I found this Melty Blood group for Latin America. And I began learning more about the community that way. Still, the net play was pretty bad, but I already knew some combos. I already knew some of my block strings, so I came kind of prepared. Like I wasn't like a whole beginner. I could take games of people, and I was putting in work, so it felt like I had a shot. Like, oh, I can practice. Okay, I'll try to be really good at this game, even though there was no money, there's bad netcode, no competition. It was just addictive, and it was funny to learn. That's what I say. Like, I think something that made me stick to this series was that I have so many good memories. I have so many good memories from Melty Blood. It's just something I did out of pure passion. There was no reward of any kind, So it's really interesting when I look back. It's like many days after school, I would just go to training mode 4 hours. I remember I would get home, turn on my computer, put on Ryogi's theme on YouTube. As soon as I got home, do some things, and then get in the game. I was that kid. Then I put the whole Melty Blood OST on my Walkman, and I was just vibing like that. So I was just consuming a lot of Melty Blood media at that point. But yeah, I remember a funny story before I move on to the next point. One of my RL friends, one day he came to my house, and he told me, act as if I'm not here, just act normally. And I turned on Melty Blood. I started playing training mode, just practicing my routine, my execution routine, trying to land this stuff. And after like 10 minutes, he looks at me and he's like, are you still doing that? And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? And I think up to that point, I didn't notice how committed I was to just blabbing and just getting good at this game, learning as much as I would with all the possible characters. Like every character looked very interesting. So that's another positive. But yeah, I gotta say that's when I noticed how committed I was to this. But yeah, just fast forwarding, I continued playing on Facebook even until 2015. So I moved to the States in 2013. That means I was still playing with Latin America up to 2015. And that's when I decided to open up and try to talk more with the American community. And yeah, I gotta say that was pretty scary for me, because mind you, I never thought of a possible offline scene. Like, again, this was a super far-fetched idea. Just the concept of going to a tournament, of course, I'd do to like an Evo. That was like the dream of my life. Like I dreamt that year after year. I'd be like, I want to go to Evo. I want to go to a tournament. And now that I was in the States, I could do that, but it was so overwhelmed. It was so scary. So I didn't interact with the North American community until, again, 2015, 2 years after I moved to this country. And again, that's a mistake for sure, because later I found out, the community is not that evil. They're not the gatekeepers. They're not like that, and it was pretty welcoming, I gotta say. So yeah, I think the thing was in Melty Blood in the States was going through a rough time. Most of the strong players quit the game, focus on other games. We now have, of course, Lord Knight, who play more Blaze Blue, play more Persona, where people know him a lot from, right? Yuna, for example, left the States, and Tom Berry became just like a lot monster. Butterfree was becoming to be less interested in the game, and be interested in other French-based games, and so on and so forth. People were moving on from Melty Blood. It seems like Melty Blood, after EVO 2010, had given everything it had, and people were starting to lose interest. It became pretty much the side game. But Sea Otaku 2015 came, and it felt like an opportunity. It felt like once in a lifetime. This game is a main game, and it's 4 hours from where I live at the time. So I begged my parents, and we went. They accompanied to my first major. They didn't stay there, but they did. They did go to Disney World while I was playing in my pool, and I got 9th place on my first major. I was very nervous, of course. It was my first time playing offline. 3 years after starting the game. It was 4 years after starting the game. I had never played another person offline, and it was such a fun experience. But I was really scared. I'm very proud of how I did, honestly. I caused a couple upsets. It was all fun and games, but it gave me a reason to grind. It was humbling. So yeah, it was a very humbling experience, and I was very excited to grind at that point. I always try to be as good as I could. I always try to do my best, and yeah, that I felt like that wasn't enough. I felt like now we needed to do it for real. The 2015 to 2016 was the grind of my life, and I wanna say 2016 was such a good year for Melty Blood. It was when the game kind of got reinvigorated because of the Steam release, of the official Steam release. Even though it didn't have the rollback of the Community Edition, it was maybe a way for people to find out about the series, Just a small cut here, guys, because I want to keep things kind of chronologically in some sense. I just want to talk about my character choice back then. So of course I play Ryogi, and I mess with other characters. If you look back at my YouTube, you can see I have some Citono stuff, I have some Aoko stuff. I really just like grabbing characters, but I like Sion for her combos, but she was too hard. I want to say she was too hard. It really wasn't until I became interested in the actual source material and like, okay, what is this Tsukihime visual novel about? What is the Melty Blood story about? That I got really, really interested in Sion, because it was such a good connection between high execution, which is something I like, and just the character, just the struggle that she goes to. Like she feels alone, she feels an immense sense of responsibility, and I could relate to that at the time. I can still do, and yeah, that's basically what I chose my character. And again, at this point in the timeline, I was completely obsessed with anything Tsukihime related. I was a huge fan of the series, know a lot of the lore, know a lot of the dummy trivia. So I gotta say, at this point in the timeline, I'm just hooked. I'm just hooked in this series. It's great. But one of my biggest inspirations in life too. I've written some stuff, and Tsukihima's actually one of my inspirations, even though it was a bit outdated, and you know there's some parts that are controversial. I still think many of the routes just hit in the right spot. The feelings you get from like Hisui route, oh my god, they're insane. But yeah, that's besides the point. I just wanted to kind of clarify that point of the story, and we can go back. Yeah, so I just want to say 2016 was probably the year where Melty Blood felt reinvigorated, mostly because of the Steam release of Actors Again. So the Steam release doesn't have rollback, and it's definitely not the version that people wanted to use. I really wanted to use this for tournaments, though, because one of the major issues that Melty Blood has had as a competitive fighting game through all these years is the fact that it's a PC fighter in a version that is very unstable. What that means is that different setups will have different input delays, we would have some frame drops here and there, and it became really frustrating as we wanted to become more and more competitive to have a standard, you know, because people would just bring their laptops to the tournaments and we would use people's laptops, and that's fine. But there were some setups that were better than others, you know, and that made it really unfun to play the pools of the tournaments. It felt, you know, kind of like a guess, like a hit or miss. And the Steam version kind of corrected that, but it had a big problem. And instead, for the keyboard players, it didn't have access to the dash macro, to the AB macro. So that means that if you play on keyboard on the Steam version, you are at a disadvantage if you use the dash macro to air dash or like just dash in general. So that was kind of unfair. So we decided to continue playing caster for the most part. We had a couple tournaments on Steam, but yeah, we settled back on caster, and it was a tough decision. I think I still would have chosen to just say let's use Steam and let's use maybe like a program to add macros, to put a to, you know, just bind AB macro to that a key, and I would have been fine with that. But I think it's past. It's too long since then. It doesn't matter anymore. Just moving on. Yeah, 2016 was pretty much the year we had one of the biggest turnouts for Melty Blood until then on our Otaku. That's the first major I won, Otaku 16. It was so special. It felt right. It was so special. I beat at someone I looked up to for a long time. It felt great. It felt like I've accomplished a lot, and you know, 5 years something, almost 5 years after starting the game, I felt like it was all worth it. This one, it felt like I wasn't just wasting my time. Even though I never wasted my time because I enjoyed every second of it. I always thought about that, you know, it's like, oh, this is like not making me any money. This is not gonna win me a tournament because nobody plays this game, right? Like, this is just like the funny side tournament that people play. But no, it felt great. It felt great. It felt all worth it. From there on, you know, I went sort of like a streak. Anything I enter, I'll win for the most part. And I was just grinding hard. I just continued to grind, honestly. So yeah, we just had access to rollback. We play on that. And for the community, I think that's probably one of the golden ages of it. It just felt like there were a lot of newcomers to the game, and it was so exciting. When, you know, I began traveling to events, and you start seeing people that you've met before. You start seeing the bigger picture of the FGC. You know, you start seeing that we're not just users. We're all just people who enjoy the same thing, and it's great that we get spaces that, you know, to hang out and socialize. It's amazing. It's great. I just wanted to say that through all this time, I'm just so happy that I met this community. I don't know where I've been right now if I didn't download the game back in 2012. It's funny to look back at it right now, and just, yeah, I want to say the community has had highs and lows. It's not all being, you know, just good vibes and wholesomeness. There's definitely been a lot of people needing to adapt to being in the open for the FGC. A lot of multiplayer scores codes from image boards and some sort. You know what that implies. It's definitely caused a couple blow-ups. We had situations with players that are well known, and then we find out how they really think of many of us, and how scary it can be. You know, how the real world's still kind of scary. But yeah, I think the issue is that we basically put a lot of focus on those things, and those things kill or make it so that people don't see the good aspects of a community, which, you know, it's understandable. There's completely understandable for sure, but I guess I was always kind of mad of that. Of, man, there's so much that I've gotten because of this. It's sad that the only thing people can see is some random being whack. You know, some random that's in the Melty Corp being fucking whack. that really hurts. It really hurts me a lot. And that's why I've always tried to push, you know, like try to be like a face, even though I never wanted any position of interest. Like I didn't wanna be ahead of the community, if that makes sense. I've always done my own thing. I always just want to play, just want to chill. But if people wanted to point fingers at me, oh, that's Melty Blood, I try to be that. You know, I try to be the ideal multiplayer, if you could think of that way. Which I'm not perfect at all, and I've never been, and sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be that person that people think of when they think competitive Melty Blood. But I try my best at this point. I think I owe it. I owe it to the community. Like, so yeah. Moving on, we basically continued our tournaments, continue to grow exponentially. The growth from 2015 to 2019 was crazy. In terms of numbers for our tournaments, our Climax of Night series, everything we had. It was just a great time to be a multiplayer. So much that we were gonna be featured at Combo Breaker as a main game for Combo Breaker. For those who don't know or not too familiar with the FGC, with the fighting game community as a whole, Combo Breaker is pretty much our second biggest tournament of the year. The first one being EVO. Combo Breaker is a big deal. That was our moment. 2020 was our year, and of course the pandemic happened and it's all over. But we pushed through. We still had hope. We were ready. We were ready to continue to support this game well into the 2020s. It didn't matter. We didn't know when we were gonna get a next version of the game. We were ready to play this game forever. I'm ready to play Actors again till the end of my days. Even though we have a new version of the game, I was ready to play it because it's my favorite game of all time. My favorite game of all time. I'll continue playing it. I still play it. Even if I don't compete, even, you know, the day I retire from tournament, I will still play the game. I'll still try to be as good as I can just because that's what I enjoy, right? So yeah, they kind of, yeah, you know, the pandemic happened and we kind of lost the opportunity. But we didn't lose hope. And then Lumina happens. Lumina gets announced. I wake up one day, I see high definition sprites for Tono, Arcade, Akiha. I start crying. You guys don't understand what it is to pretty much have internalized that you're never gonna get support for this series again. This is it. And then get that. It was crazy. It was crazy. And the months leading to Lumina were crazy too. it was a great time. And Lumina came out 3 months ago actually, and it's a really fun game and I'm really happy with it. But it's definitely created what I would say a divide of some sort. And I'll say this is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. For once, it's opened the doors to new members of the community, and that's great. It's always great to have more people around. And I will say the game is fun, but I think it kind of failed to grasp the old school, the people who've been here, since ever. They changed a lot of the mechanics, a lot of how the game works. And yeah, a lot of the people that love the series and like those changes, understandably so. So guess what? We're continuing to play Actors again, and I think that's okay because I think both games can coexist. But it's kind of sad, but yeah, for me at least, because I just wanna see everyone happy. But even though it's not possible, I just wish it would appeal to us old school players a little bit more. But like I said, it's a 1.0. The game just came out. We didn't have a beta. We didn't have anything like that. And if you know French Bread, their first versions of the games are really, really, really janky. They're really bad. Lumina is the exception. This game is really, really good, and it can become better. So that's all I'll say on that end. But it's exciting because that means there's a future. There's a future for us. There's not just our present, which was playing Actors again till the end of time. Now we have DLC announcements, updates, corrections to the game, and we have a tournament series that just got announced. We're alive. We're a fighting game that's alive, that's getting support, that the devs are listening. Most of us have never felt that. Have never been in a fighting game like that, in a community like that. So it feels eye-opening, in any sense. So all I say is that I'm just excited for the future. And I know this video is just a rambling of ideas. I'm telling a story of my life that nobody wanted to hear. But it felt like it was necessary for me to make it, I needed to put this in words somewhere, just because of how special these 10 years have been. Seriously, I was a completely different person before I started playing. And all I'm gonna say is that I hope that I can continue playing this game until the end of my life. Like I think it a lot, and honestly, I've gotten so much because of it. And it's just great. Right. Yeah, I gotta say these past 10 years have been a roller coaster in terms of the community. I think we're going on a rise, and I think 2022 is gonna show that for Lumina. I know there are people who have been critical about the game. I'm one of the first ones who've been there, but I do it because I really want this game to succeed. I really want this game to be good, and I know it can be good. I like the ideas. I like what they're doing. I like that they're listening to us, and they're fixing their things at their own pace, but they are. Like, there's no rush. For people like us that have played Actors again for all these years, I played Melty for 19 years of Melty Blood. The people have been here for a while. We don't mind waiting. We like seeing what friendship does. So honestly, we don't have a hurry. Do what you gotta do. And if you're someone who bought Lumina and you're unhappy with it, it's fine. I completely understand. Maybe with the next patch you will be more interested. Maybe with the next update you'll be more interested. I'm just happy that you tried it. I'm really just happy that you gave it a shot. I appreciate that for sure. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that, guys. Again, I know this video is nothing like I've done before. Definitely more personal. It's just a retrospective and just a little anecdote I wanted to share, and just a little story dump for those who are just getting into the community. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.